All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. Very glad to have you here on this webinar where we discuss about the MSBA Flex program at the University of Texas at Dallas. We are very happy that you've joined us because one of the things that we love is working for our students, answering your questions and making sure that you have all the possible information because you're making a big decision in your lives. You are pivoting your lives with this degree, and that's the kind of benefit that the degree gives you. But the process of going through the degree or getting started with it can sometimes be arduous, and we want to make sure that you have all the possible resources to help you ease into the degree program and have a good experience here. My name is Gaurav Shekhar, and I'm the program director of the Graduate Business Analytics Flex, which is our in-person state-funded program, and I'm also the program director for the online program for business analytics. I have my colleague Sylvia Leventhal here with us. She is the program manager. So between myself and Sylvia, we take care of a lot of things around the program for students. The agenda is very simple. And if you have attended any of our past webinars, we will spend a few minutes talking about some information about the program. We'll take you through the coursework, etc. But we want to allocate the major portion of this webinar to your questions. The best way to answer those questions is to just simply put them in the chat. And once you put those questions in the chat, what it does is that we will go through all the questions one at a time. My apologies. Somebody's trying to call me. Sorry for that. I just had to let the person know that, we're in a webinar. All right. Well, back to sharing the screen. There you go. So as I said, questions that you have can be put into the chat and we'll go through all the questions. So we'll spend most of the time there. So irrespective of what kind of questions they are, don't worry, just put them there so that the others can also benefit from the same. Okay, well, before even we talk about why business analytics at UT Dallas, I would rather talk about why business analytics at all. The world is not having too few degrees. There are too many degrees out there. There are too many streams out there. There are too many areas in which you can grow your competencies. Then why business analytics? What is so important these days about it that everybody wants to talk about it? Everybody wants to have it in their organizations. It is a critical function of their organization. It is something that they cannot proceed with. They cannot make, and when I say they, I mean organizations or even individuals. Better decisions or good decisions are backed by good data, good analytics around it. Strategies, tactical decisions, operational decisions are backed by good analytics. So why everybody needs so much of data? And to really answer that question, I'll have to take you back to by a few decades. The 70s was mostly about how computer systems started to come out of only big organizations or government organizations into small and medium enterprises or even homes. The PC that was the era of the PC. And one thing that we know about applications is any application has an underlying layer of data. So you create any application to manage data. So it always has been about data, data management, and data-centric things. Now, while the 70s was about finding out what's the best way to get that data or to store that data, the 80s was about, okay, let's fine tune those systems. 90s was mostly about, okay, we've got all this data. What do we do with this? So at that point of time, some of the market leaders They saw that opportunity and they started looking into, okay, can we look at patterns? Is there something which is cyclical that can tell us that, our business will go one way or the other? And that's where they started intensively looking at patterns, trying to mine their data, trying to figure out what's going on to predict the future. I mean, the best businesses that can predict. If you own a business, you want to predict what happens tomorrow so that you're prepared for it. But it wasn't until, I would say, early 2000s that more and more organizations started jumping on it. Now in 2022, we see almost every organization beginning from the point where they have data and they start from there to make decisions. So when it was all about data and it was all about uh, making the right decisions, the question was, do we understand how data is used? And to make that happen, the anytime you have a need in your organization, what companies do is they bring in trainers, they get their employees trained on stuff, but the need of knowing the language of data was increasing at a much rapid pace than how it was being fulfilled. And whenever that happens, there's only one place industry looks at: academia. In 2007, the first analytics program came up. So it's not a major that has been there for too long of a time. UT Dallas started its program in 2014. And right now, we are the largest in-person graduate analytics program in the country. Now, companies, irrespective of the nature of their job, whether they are very tech focused or not, they need analytics. Financial sectors, real estate, oil and natural gas, healthcare, you name it, they need analytics. And one opportunity that you all who are trying to get this degree have is that right now we are still in the nascency in terms of the know-how of what analytics is. So there's a big dearth of qualified professionals who can very well go and be of value to their organizations by bringing in the right information to them. So you are one of the few people who really will make that difference when it comes to analytics in your organization. It's not something which is saturated. There is no saturation right now. Again, the understanding of analytics is also very important. Like what really analytics is. Now, a lot of times companies, they will go and buy a tool around data visualization, and then they will claim that that's an analytics practice. That's just one part of it. That's data presentation. You talk about, ETL, extracting, transforming, loading your data. Talk about how data is generated, how data is stored, how data is provisioned, how data is modeled, how data, any kind of optimization that you're doing, any kind of heuristic techniques you're running. All of this with a flavor of data presentation, data provisioning is what really analytics is. And our program helps students learn all of this. See, the goal is not to just make you worthy enough to go and work in an organization. We want to make you an independent contributor. We want to give you the confidence that if you go to an organization, irrespective of what they do, you'll be able to work on that. And that can happen because of a lot of things that the program does. Number one thing, flexibility. You decide how many courses you want to take and what sequence you want to take. You want to study some of the core classes first. You want to do electives first. Electives also, there are 10 different tracks from which you can pick up from. So there is a lot of options out there, a lot of flexibility. You want to take a day class, you want to take an evening class, afternoon class, you decide that. To a great extent, you can craft your experience yourself. And we want to give you that flexibility. Engagement is also very key. What happens inside the class, there are 2 times, 3 times more things that happen outside of the class, where you are engaging with the employers, you're networking with them, you are really uh, opening avenues for yourself. And that's what we really do with engagement. Student organizations, competitions. I mean, there are tons of ways through which you can enrich your profile outside of the classrooms. And then finally, we're really focused on outcomes. We really want to make sure that anything that you're doing or we are doing with you, we look at whether it worked or not. If it needs any tweaks, we do it then and there. We don't want to just do events or we don't want to start initiatives if they're not yielding value. And we really use our students' opinions before we even get into a lot of these things, because we want to make sure that whatever we are doing, we're not just doing it from one point of view. We want to serve you. And that's the goal here. The composition of the program is it's a 36 credit program. Half of the degree is core and the other half is electives. And then you have the 10 tracks listed out there: accounting, cybersecurity, data science, data engineering, decision and operations, which is mostly around supply chain, financial, healthcare, marketing, social media, enterprise systems. And enterprise systems is all about SAP here at UT Dallas, is what you pick up from. You have 18 credits, which is 6 electives that you can pick. You have 10 tracks, more than 80 courses that you can pick up from. It's a STEM designated program. So if your employer is looking for STEM designated individuals, well, there you go. If you're an international student and you're looking for extended benefits when it comes to working in the US, the STEM designation helps. And I will in a moment take you through the catalog as well, just to show you the courses, because I just had the headers here, but we'll quickly get to that. As I said, why us? Largest in the country. The average starting salary, despite the size, is still about $100,000. And if you have experience that comes in, every year of experience, we are seeing about $10,000 to $15,000 per year increase. I mean, our top end is always in the range of 250 to 300K. We have partnerships with dozens of companies. And when we say partnership, it's just not on email basis that we just know each other and that's it. These are companies who are aggressively working with us on projects. They are guest speakers. They do competitions with us. They do judging. They come for career fairs. They do internships, whatnot. Why? Because we are an intrinsic part of their existence. We are there working with them. Our students are working with them on problems. So of course we become a natural choice for them to come and hire. There's a high return on investment. How I say that? Now, number one, factually, UT Dallas in the state of Texas is number one in return on investment. MSBA program is right at the top there in terms of the money that you can make right after the program. So let me give you an example. A student can take a student loan, an education loan, and the duration that is generally given to the students is between 7 to 20 years to pay it off. Our students are generally paying any kind of loan back in about 3 to 4 years. And in 3 to 4 years, when they're doing that, that just shows the fact that they are earning that kind of money that helps them do that. And to be very honest, they're living a comfortable life. If they have a family to support, the family is getting supported and they're able to pay it off. We've had students who've paid off their entire education loan in less than a year as well. And these are not just one or two students. There are a good number of them who are out there. Lots of internships, about 600 for the past several years, we do between 5 to 600 of them. The average pay has slowly been increasing, and we've kind of been in the ballpark range of $30 an hour. Now, thinking about that, there is always this ratio between intern pay and full-time pay. So if you're an intern and you're earning $1, that kind of translates into $2 as a full-timer. So if you're doing $30 here, that means it's about $60 an hour as a full-timer, the equivalent. And $60 an hour is about 120K a year. So just give you some perspective there. The program has 3 flavors. So the Flex program is our state-funded program, has all the 10 tracks in it that you can pick up from. It's self-paced. What state-funded means is, as you take more credits in a semester, the per credit hour rate goes down in terms of tuition. Also, there is a tuition cap at 12, which means, well, students can take up to 18 credits, 6 courses, but the cap for tuition is at 12. So technically, course number 4 and course number 5, course number 5 and course number 6, anything beyond 12 is tuition free for you in that semester. Now, we don't recommend taking all the 18 credits in one semester, but if you want to do that, that's an option. If you become a teaching assistant in the program, you're eligible for in-state tuition. And the health insurance is also paid for Flex students. Cohort has 2 of the tracks out of the 10 that Flex offers. Data science and accounting analytics, again, face-to-face, online, it's self-paced. Again, there are some assistantship opportunities in the program as well. And then we have the online program, which is 100% online. It focuses on data science and data engineering. Uh, Again, self-paced. And when I say self-paced, you decide how many courses you have to take in a semester. If you're an international student, there are certain foundations that you must meet in terms of minimum enrollment. But generally, every student at UT Dallas for a master's degree gets 6 years. Now, nobody takes 6 years to finish their degree. I would say the quickest that our degree can be finished is 9 months. Most of the students take between 1.5 to 2 years. So it's like 17 to 22 months to finish this degree. Because there's a component of internship as well that we recommend our students to take. It is required to graduate in the program. So with that opportunity to work with a company, sometimes students extend their graduation by a semester or two, and that's why it's 1.5 to 2 years to finish your degree. Now we do need, one of the things that we need for your application is your GMAT or GRE, and waivers are available. I'll talk about that in a second. We also have scholarships. If you are applying to the Flex program, you need to submit a separate application for scholarship called the Dean's Excellence Scholarship for incoming students. Once you are in the program, you can always apply as a continuing student for a scholarship every fall. TA-ships are also available, but we'll talk about that in a second. All right, for the applications, we need your GRE or GMAT. Waivers are available, which means that if you wish to go for a waiver, just submit an application and send a request to jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu. You can see this email address on your screen and just let them know this is your application number, you would request a waiver. However, having said that, if you're going for a scholarship, one of the criteria is that you must submit a GRE, an official GRE or GMAT score. We need your transcripts. Now, there are several ways through which you can send it to us. You can have your institution, and let's say you have a college, but then it's affiliated to a university. Whosoever is responsible for issuing your degree certificates or your degree, they need to officially attest copies of both these documents, put it in an envelope, seal the envelope, stamp it, and send it to UT Dallas. Or they can use online services like TrueCopy to send it electronically. Or they can also have copies that are attested sent from the official email IDs to UT Dallas's admissions team. Or they can even give it to you in sealed envelopes that are stamped on the seals, and you can use the Dropbox facility at UT Dallas to drop them. But before we even make a decision, if you want to submit unofficial transcripts, which means just scanned copies of it, that is okay. We will use those unofficial copies to make a decision. Resume, we need your resume. We need 3 letters of recommendation. And out of the 3 LORs, one of them should be from a working professional. Now, this person may have worked with you, may not have worked with you. That's not a problem. They should be a working professional. And then your personal objective statement. 1 page, double spaced. We just want to know why this degree and how does it factor in your future plans. That's what we want to understand from you. Talking about scholarships and TA-ships again, well, there is a separate application needed for the Flex program. The due date is December 1 for spring 23 and May 1 if you're applying for fall 23. These are the 2 possible semesters in which you can get a scholarship. And if you get it, it's $1,000 plus. Yeah, the Dean's Excellence Scholarship comes with the ability to pay in-state tuition rates if you're an out-of-state student for 2 semesters. TA-ships are not available for incoming students in the very first semester. However, once you're here at UT Dallas, from the second semester onwards, you can uh, be a TA. So within your first semester, whenever the application opens for the second semester, you can apply. We need a GPA at UT Dallas. We need to see how you're doing in your courses at UTD before we can decide to hire you as a TA. A quick glimpse into some of our internship data from the last semester. Summer 22 saw almost 300 internships, 262 unique employers. 97% of them are full-time, which means they were at least working 21 hours per week. Average salary of about $28, and the highest salary per hour was about $71. The top employers that we had: Copart, Amazon, Genpact, Catenate, Spring ML, USA, EXL Services. I mean, they hired in boatloads. But You can see a lot of the companies just hired one intern, and that's one of the things that I like about our program is that students have this wide breadth of companies that they end up working with. And guess what? You if you send even if you send one student, that's a relationship that is established between the university and that company. In fact, some of these employers that you're seeing on screen, they once started with just one or maybe two interns, to a point that now they've been hiring every semester from a in big numbers. We get this question often: what kind of job titles do you have? And by the way, this information and in a very comprehensive way is available on our website, the business analytics webpage. You will see all the internship titles and companies that people went into. But data science intern, data engineering intern, data analytics intern, data analyst intern, BI intern, associate data engineer. These are some of our very common titles that we see out there. If you have a LinkedIn account, I would strongly recommend that you go search for this hashtag UTDMSBA, and read for yourself what our students are doing. These are first-hand accounts of their internships, any other things that they're doing in the school, certifications, whatnot it is. They all tie it back to this hashtag UTDMSBA. And this is one way for you to know what students experience here. If, let's say, there is a particular company that you need to work for, you can just simply go and look at the experience that the student posted to get a better idea as to what it takes to work in that company. And a lot of times, students use these stories as ways for themselves to research what working at an organization or doing certain things at UT Dallas means. We have tons of student organizations at UT Dallas, more than 350 of them. About 70 of them are in the School of Management, but the ones that you see on your screen are some of the prominent ones. Once you're here, there will be lots of kickoffs, and you will have the ability to kind of talk to them, know about them, and even join them. Certificate programs are micro degrees. They're carved out of the degree program, but they are great because with by taking 3 or 4 courses, you can get this certificate. It's a separate diploma, and it has a lot of weight. It's issued by a public university. The good thing is that when you take these classes, and when I go to the catalog, I'll show an example of the machine learning certificate. When you take these classes and you're in the program, you not only get credit towards your degree, you also get credit towards your certificate program. You don't pay tuition twice. So technically, for a degree seeking student, just by taking those combination of courses, you're getting this certificate for free. If you had to come and get this certificate just by itself, it's anywhere between $15,000 to $20,000, depending on your residency. So I think this is a great way through which you can expand, maximize the value that you're getting from the program. Our contact information, our email address, and our phone numbers, both of us are at your disposal for any kind of questions that you may have. We try to respond to them as quickly as we can. This week is our registration week. We've been, asked a lot of questions about, things about next semester registration. And we always, one of the things we like doing is making sure that students get their answers back. With that, I will quickly go to the catalog page just to skim through that and show you some of the things that are in the catalog. So for example, the core courses, 18 credit hours, you need to do 6 of them. And how this helps you is, see, any organization is going to ask you 3 questions: what happened, what will happen, and what do you recommend, and is this profitable? What happened? Advanced statistics. What will happen? Predictive analytics. What do you recommend? Prescriptive analytics. Is it making economic sense? Applied econ. And then the act of provisioning your data is taught to you through databases, and then modeling, BA with R, and we have another flavor of it called modeling for business analytics. That's also one of the options out there. But we teach you the entire breadth of what you need to know to be a very effective analytics professional. And then the tracks, all of them have anywhere between 6 to 10 courses. You don't declare a track, you just take whatever course you want to take. You can take all the courses from one track, you can take one course each from 6 different tracks. You decide what that combination will look like. And this is accessible on our website as well. We'll put that link in the chat in a moment, if not already. This is what I want to talk about. So graduate certificate in applied machine learning. It has 4 courses that you need to take. 3 of them are mandatory, and the 4th one is an elective that you choose. Every student in the MSBA program will take advanced statistics and BA with R, or the modeling for analytics course. So everybody by default is completing half the certificate. And on top of it, if you decide to take the machine learning elective and then either of the two, NLP or deep learning, you get the certificate. You just want to make sure in these 4 courses, your average GPA is 3.0, which is an average B. Average, you don't need it for every course. Let's say for any reason you have a lower grade in one, but a higher grade in the other, and it balances it off to an average B or an average 3.0, you're good. All right, with that, let me stop sharing my screen and start looking at your questions here. I've been already seeing that there are a lot of buzzes. Okay, excellent. Let's see what questions we have. All right, Mary, well, good day to you as well. Daisy, can we apply to 2 MS degrees at the same time without the possibility of them being a joint degree? Yes, you can. You can, but here is the question. If you're applying to 2 programs and you don't want to do them as a joint degree, the question will be asked is which is your primary program? You will have to withdraw one of the applications before you start off. The other thing is, and since you brought this question, if you want to do a dual degree, say each master's is 36. So 36 plus 36 would be 72 credits. You don't have to do 72 credits. If you want to do a dual degree, it's 55 credits for 2 masters. However, if the second degree is an MBA, and because MBA by itself is a 53 credit hour program, if somebody does a master's, MS plus an MBA, that is like, if you look at it separately, it's 89 credits, but together it is 63. So you save 27 credits worth of time and money there. Bhanu, is it fine if the SOP is over 1 page? Sure, that's okay. Just don't go too much into the length, but if it is beyond 1 page, it's okay. We won't hold it against you, don't worry. Pallavi, what's the minimum duration of the Flex MSBA? Also, what is your take on the impact of ongoing recession? Okay, that's a great question, first of all, Pallavi. I'll take the first part. So minimum duration, as I said, is 9 months. Now, if you're an international student and you have to take the professional development class because of the 18 credit requirement or maximum in a semester, what will happen is that the minimum duration for international students becomes 1 year. The maximum is 6. Now, as far as the recession is going on, here is my take on it. Recessions happen every few years. This is not, again, we're not looking at 2008. 2008 was bad, but even with that also, we've had recessions which are a lot of times market corrections and companies try to reorg themselves. None of this will go infinitely into several years. It goes on for a few months here and there. Even with something like the COVID, when the immediate impact was that all offers were rescinded, that lasted not even a month or two. The other thing is, because you're going to start a degree, by the time you reach the point that you have to get your internships and all, it is bound to be okay. Even students who are right now in the program, who started this fall, looking for summer internships, there is a huge possibility that by the time they hit summer, things would have started becoming normal. And by the way, anytime recession happens, the best thing to do at that point of time is, if you're really worried about your jobs and all, we have seen education pick up because people try to upskill themselves so that when the recession ends, at that point of time, they have better skills to go and sell themselves. Around how long will it take to complete the program if the student is working full time? Excellent question. Now, if you take 1 or 2 courses every semester, I would say that for a full-time students, it's 1.5 to 2 years. Add another semester or 2 if you're working full time. Say you may want to start with 1 course or maybe 2 courses, because irrespective of whether you're doing this full time or not, the first semester has a unique challenge because you're trying to get used to taking classes. And because it's a new routine that you're setting yourself into, that first semester can take some time. But after that, with every passing semester, you get more and more comfortable taking courses. We have students who are working professionals, work 40 hours a week, started with 1 course, and by the time they were graduating, they were taking 3, or even I know one person taking 4 courses to finish out the semester. And it was possible for them to do that. Again, the long semesters are 16 weeks long. The short semester, which is summer, is 11 weeks. So things go pretty fast. And whatever you decide in terms of your course load, uh, you know, if in the first couple of weeks you feel that, well, this is not doable for whatever reason, we have options to get you out of the class as well. There are drop deadlines where you're not penalized. I mean, beyond a certain point, of course, but you can always manage your schedule accordingly. But yeah, 1 to 2 classes for a working professional is a good load to take. Does the course come with full funding? It doesn't. When you talk about funding, even for our scholarship recipients, if there is any component of in-state tuition, that still covers half the tuition. It's a master's program. Full funding is an option at the PhD level. Is GRE, GMAT the only criteria? I'm glad you asked that question. GRE and GMAT is not the only, but one of the important criteria. Everything in your application, your scholarship essay, your profile, all of that matters. And one of the things that I would like to recommend to any scholarship aspirant is, see, when you write your essays, one of the things that I've seen students not do very well in their essays is indicate how this scholarship is going to help them. Now, telling us that this scholarship will help you financially, that's a common denominator. 100% of the students are helped by our scholarships financially. So there's nothing new that you're telling us there. You have to tell us what is the scholarship or the scholarly aspect of this support. If you provide you this support, how will this help you in your scholarly journey? Saying that, well, this is going to help my parents who are sponsoring me, or this is going to help me financially, doesn't really add a lot of weight, because see, we understand those things. You're stating the obvious. You're not stating anything unique about why. But as far as GRE or GMAT, going back to your original question, they are important, but they're not the only thing that we look into. Apart from technical skills, what characteristics the program cares about when selecting suitable candidates? So it's a holistic process, which means we look at every possible piece of document that you have submitted. Let me give an example. You could have a low GPA. That doesn't mean that we will outrightly reject you. We will see what happened. We will go semester by semester to see where you started dropping. Were you a student who always had a low GPA? Or were you a student who really was doing well, but there were a semester or two, you were not able to perform well for whatever reason, and that affected your overall GPA at the end of the degree? Your resume tells us a lot about your profile. Your essay is important. See, your essay is a conversational response to your candidature. Use your essay as a way to tell us why we should consider you, because there are a lot of things that you cannot tell, or there are some of the important things you cannot tell in any of the other documents. You can't say things on your transcripts. You can't say anything on your resume. Your resumes are your factual experience. But if you have to talk in a qualitative sense, in a conversational sense, you can't use your resume. So your personal objective statement is definitely the place where you can tell us that. But we look at everything to make that decision as to whether you are a student we want in the program. Now, this has nothing to do with how good or nice you are. The question is, if we put you in this program, will you succeed? If the answer is an outright yes, absolutely. If it's a maybe, we look at more information. We try to gather more information to reject. We don't want to find reasons to reject you until you give us one. And if you feel that, yes, you know what, there is enough evidence that if you put you in the program, it's going to be a problem, we will not, because we are doing a disservice to you. We don't want to just add a student to the program because it's good to have another student. But if you struggle, that's going to be painful. See, this program's success, or for that matter, any university's success, is directly proportional to their students' ability to do well. And we want to make sure that students, you're doing well. Now, since I'm talking about this, I want to also mention another thing. Yes, we can just go for toppers and the cream of the cream. But then that's not how a good program is. A good program, as per us, is where any student can come and gain the skills and become successful. It's the program that really should be that life changer or the pivotal thing for a student. So we really look at you from all perspectives to make sure that, is this a possibility? Can we be that program that helps you succeed? And when the answer is no, that's when we reject. We sometimes even call students to maybe talk to them more about their candidature, if we feel that we are somewhere on the fence about whether to let you in or not. But yes, it's a holistic process, and it goes through several levels before any decision is rendered. Is it necessary to upload official TOEFL GRE scores prior to getting admission? Well, if you're going for a scholarship, definitely we need the GRE scores. TOEFL, we have a list of about 46 countries that are waived for the English proficiency requirements because the medium of instruction in those countries is English. So if you are from one of those countries, you don't need any TOEFL. But GRE scores or GMAT scores, we need them. We need the official ones if you are looking for a scholarship. Now, let's look at the timeline. Let's say you did not submit the official one, but you submitted the unofficial ones. We will use that for the admission evaluation purpose. But the minute the admission evaluation is done, and let's say you got admitted, and now the next step is you are applying for a scholarship. At that point of time, only when your official scores are received, the committee will look at that. So for admission purposes, unofficial is okay. For scholarship, not. Uh, could you please provide an application fee waiver? Well, thank you for asking, but unfortunately, we cannot provide that. We are a state university, so we don't have the ability to provide waivers. However, after the first application, anytime you go ahead and you uh, apply to a program at UT Dallas, you will not need to pay application fee anymore. I'm seeing a few hands go up. I would request you if you could put your questions in the chat. That will be very helpful for us because there is a long list that we want to go through. So we want to just make sure that we use the time well. Does the industry practice internship count towards the credits? Say we do 11 courses, then 3 credits worth internship, and will we need to pay anything for that semester? Okay, good question. Number one, because you are getting credit for internship, because it's credits, you pay for credits. You don't pay for a course. You don't say that, oh, I'm paying for the stats class, or I'm paying for the machine learning class, or I'm paying for the database class. You take the number of whatever credits you're taking, and then the bursar will just bill you based on the number of credits. Since you're getting credits for an internship, and if you're taking 1, 2, or 3 credits for an internship, you pay for that. Those 3 credits will be part of the 36 credits. Absolutely. However, students are not obligated to take the 3 credits towards an internship. The first internship that you can do can be done for 0 credits, which means that there is no tuition associated, but only for the first time. The second time you want to take any credit for an internship, well, you need to select either 1 credit, 2 credits, or 3 credits, but they will be part of your 36 credits. A good question. Thank you. Graduate certificate in applied machine learning, is it compulsory? Not really. No, none of the certificates is compulsory. It's a recommendation, but if you don't want to do it, you don't need to do that. Okay. All right, please make sure that you're putting your questions in the chat. I'm seeing a few hands go up. I'm not trying to ignore that, but it's better to put the questions in the chat, and we will go through all of them. So don't worry about it. On getting admits, UT Dallas asked for attested transcripts and degree certificate. My college provides only attested copies of transcripts. How do you go ahead and submission of the attested and sealed degree? So again, the question is, who is the degree certificate or transcript issuing authority? You may be part of an institution that is affiliated to a university. So you need to figure out which one is that. In most of the cases, it's the university. However, some institutions are given autonomous status, which means that they can issue transcripts. They can also issue a provisional degree certificate. And if you're an autonomous institution, well, both of them can be issued by your institution. We don't need originals. Please don't send your originals. Attested copies. Put them in an envelope, get it sealed, and put stamps of the institution on the seals. You can mail it through postal mail, or you can even use the Dropbox facility. Another thing, as I said, is those attested copies, soft copies, attested ones, can be sent from the universities or the college's official email address to UT Dallas. Admission@utdallas.edu is the email address. The other thing is degree certificates, irrespective of whether your institution is autonomous or not. Degree certificates are always issued by the university. So you need to make sure that whichever bucket you fall into, you send your documents accordingly. Okay, and admission at UT Dallas is singular word. Admission at utdallas.edu is one way for you to ask any of these questions if you need any clarifications at any point of time. Uh, for the letters of recommendation, are we supposed to upload these or we include the contact info the recipient? So when you're filling your application for the recommendation section, you're asked to list the name and the email address, and the person who's recommending you will receive a unique link to upload their recommendation. However, for whatever reason, if the link doesn't work for them, what you can do is we have an email address, jsomgradvising@utdallas.edu, where you can ask your recommender to send the the recommendation letter directly. Or you can email it to me or Mrs. Leventhal as well, and we can pass it on to the admissions team. But yes, if you list them in the application, they get a link. 99% times, though, that link will not have any issues. But for whatever reason, if there is anything, you can always email them. You as a student, please don't upload it because we don't know what's the origin. We want to verify it is coming from a vetted source. That's why we want to have some connect with the recommender. That's why the link or an email directly from them. Is a professional LOR compulsory? It is. One of them, again, it is a person who may have worked with you, may not have worked with you. Even if you don't have any work experience, not a problem, but they are a working professional is what is important. There is no enough information provided regarding MSBA data science cohort regarding scholarships. Well, by the way, this session is for the Flex program. If you have questions about the MSBA cohort, you can reach out to them at msbacohort@utdallas.edu. Uh, but the Dean's Excellence Scholarship is for the Flex students. You need to have a separate application, and that application is due December 1st. If you have sent that in, the application committee, and we know that there are certain delays in terms of reaching out, but uh, believe me, they are reaching out to students as and when they have decisions ready. Anushka, so when are the admission decisions out? If you receive an admission offer, how much time do we have to accept it? Good question. So we generally take the official timeline is once we have received your application and all the required documentation that we need, we take about 4 to 6 weeks. Now, what I've seen in the past is, and generally our admissions team is pretty fast on this, they're generally turning around things in about 2 to 4 weeks. So if you've submitted everything and everything is good, you can receive an admit in as less as 2 weeks, like 15 days, and you'll get an admit. Now, once you have an admit, you have to go inside our portal through which you have sent the application. It's called Orion to accept it. There's no fee to accept it, but the you have time honestly until the start of registration to really accept your admit. You can't start your registration for classes until you accept it. But as I said, if you've made up your mind to an extent, it's good to let us know by accepting it that you are thinking of moving ahead with UT Dallas. Now, at a later point of time, for whatever reason, you decide to drop out or your plans change, you can always withdraw your application. Pushkar, the Dean's Excellence Scholarship offered for incoming student will count towards spring and fall semester or summer as well. I believe this is, so there are 2 semesters, spring, and I think it is summer as well. But depending on what the committee has decided for that particular semester, they would list those 2 semesters in your letter. How many students are on average are admitted to this program? Now, that depends totally on the semester. Our fall semester is one where we have more students as compared to spring. So generally, in the past several years, we have seen 350 to 400 students coming in fall, about 150 students in spring, and summer is about 20-30 more students. Last year, I think it was also an effect of COVID that a lot of students that had deferred kind of ended up coming in the last year. So we had more students than what we had expected, about 700 of them coming this fall and about 250, 300 coming in this past spring. But about 150, 200 has been our average for spring and about 350, 400 for fall. Okay, I want to shift to be a flex from cohort. Whom should I contact? My upcoming student. Okay, actually, you can send in an application for flex. If you want to send me an email separately, I can send you the information as to how you can go about it. Given classes of flex occurs in campus, does it occur only on weekdays or weekends as well? We generally don't have weekend classes. Here and there, maybe a subject might be open for weekend. Right now, most of the classes that we have are in the weekdays. And we have classes across the day. So we might have some courses that have a morning, afternoon, evening section. There are a lot of them that have a lot of evening classes. There are a lot of them that have afternoon classes. We've seen our 1 o'clock slot, and most of these classes are 2 hours 45 minutes. So 1 o'clock, 1 to 3:45 p.m. is a very popular spot. 4 to 6:45 is our most popular. That's what we see. Students tend to use the morning time for other things that they're doing, and then use the evening slots for their classes. We have classes all the way until 9:45 p.m. in the night. The earliest, the one that starts, is 8 a.m. Not everybody takes the 8 a.m. class. As I said, flexibility, you can decide what you want to do. But 8 a.m. all the way to 9:45 p.m. My school issues our degree certificate to us. Do we still need to request a school? Well, if your school is the degree issuing authority, then the school does it. From what we understand, none of the schools issue the degree. But in case your school is a degree issuing school, what I would recommend is, if you can get some kind of a letter also which states that your school has the degree issuing authority, send it to our admissions team so that they can use that information to process what your school sends as opposed to your degree. I'm working here in India for 17 years. Can I get a LOR from my colleague or subordinate? Here is the thing: we want somebody, if they're writing something about you, they should have seen you in some capacity. So that should be an okay thing to send. Can we sign up for certain courses as non-credit courses? So that's called auditing. You can audit classes. You don't get credit for them, but you get to sit in those classes. There's a small fee associated with it. I think $100, $200 that you have to pay, but it is at the discretion of the instructor. If the instructor doesn't want you to sit in the class because you're not enrolled as a student, they might refuse. Haven't heard many instructors do that. Generally, at the beginning of the classes, day one, you reach out to them and you tell them that you want to sit in the classes, and if they agree, reach out to registrar, fill out the form, make the payment, and you are added to the class. No grade is assigned to you. It's nothing. No credits really. All you do is just sit in the class and do what you need to do there. What is the percentage of international students receiving Dean scholarships is making them? So most of our students, I would say more than 3/4 of our students that receive the Dean's Excellence Scholarship are out of state students. And when I say out of state, it could be out of state, could be in another state of the US or international. Technically, out of state is anything outside of Texas. So 3/4 easily get those scholarships. I've submitted my application form. Can I still apply to UT Dallas? Absolutely, you can. Just go ahead and apply for that scholarship. I'm a non-tech student, as program includes some computer languages. How would a non-tech student cope up until the program started? Yes, good question. A lot of classes do start with the very basics. We also have some boot camps at the beginning of the semester, the first semester, where, in fact, not just first semester, we do it every semester. You can join us any number of times you want to. But we do those boot camps to help you. We also provide you supplemental resources, like, students are given access to data camp if they want to learn something on their own. But a lot of classes do start with some basics. Now remember, this is a graduate level program, so the speed at which the classes move will be very different from an undergrad course. We, as we get closer to the semester, we give you recommendations as to what kind of courses you should try out, or what are some of the basics that you should know before you get into the program. Just taking an example, I teach an RPA class, which involves a lot of programming, but this is low code programming. You don't have to really do traditional programming. You write snippets of code, and I teach you how to do that, how to build those expressions, and you're able to build applications. Every class has a different way of doing that. But the more advanced courses, even though they will have some component of going from the scratch or kind of revising those basics, but the expectation is that whatever you're learning in one class kind of builds up for your future classes before you take them. And just on that note, even if you're from a non-tech background, business analytics has an application in any industry. And that's the reason why we have students from a lot of different backgrounds that come to the program. This is not just for students who are only in IT or CS or have that background to come here to UT Dallas. Are there any research assistantships available? Unfortunately, most of them are for our PhD students, but our need base is here and there if we have any RA positions available. Master students are also considered. Master students, however, are considered for teaching assistantships, which is different from RA. But if you want to do research, we definitely can help you with that as well. Can you throw some stats on the number of applications received and admits? So as I said that we admit about 350 to 400 students in the program in fall, and then some spring is about 150, 200, summer is 20 to 30. Would a scholarship from another competitive school build the case for? Not really. Again, we look at uh, your application to UT Dallas, and that's the only reason that we take into account for giving you a scholarship. Now, another institution may have seen other things in your profile. Their application criteria or their selection criteria might be very different. So it's apples and oranges. We really cannot compare ourselves to another institution's reasoning for giving you a scholarship. If you have that, that's a great thing. And again, whatever works best for you, we want to give you that final choice. But really, that cannot be used as a reason why we give you a scholarship as well. Nitesh, how many years of work experience is generally recommended for this course? Well, even if you're a fresher, you're good. But what we see is generally students who come in, uh, the work experience is anywhere between 3 and 4 years, I would say, mostly. But we do have students who have no experience, and then we have students who have experience of more than 10 years as well. And guess what? All of them are important because we need that kind of mix. And that's why we admit students who have experience across the board. When should we expect to get our mentors assigned? And we signed up for earlier. And okay, so mentors are assigned to you on an ongoing basis. If they've not already been assigned to you, just wait and you should see an email from us. But if you want to connect with a student, we have a connect with the student form as well. It just requires your name and email address, and we will use that information to pair you up with a current student. Uh, I recently finished my undergrad. It can take some time for the university to issue the original degree certificate. I'll be there for spring 23. Yes, you can use your provisional degree certificate. Absolutely. See, again, the requirement of the provisional degree is we want to know that you have completed your coursework and you are ready to get that degree. Because sometimes what happens is you may have completed all your coursework, you may have written all your exams, but you don't have your results yet. And that is insufficient for us because that doesn't tell us whether you have completed the degree or not. A provisional degree certificate at least is an official document that tells us that you have your degree sorted out, and it's just a matter of time that you'll get your original degree certificate. The Dean's Excellence Scholarship application and the program application needs to be submitted. Yes, for the Flex program, it is separate. You submit both of them separately. Generally, what people do is they wait for the decision. Once you're admitted, you submit the scholarship application. But again, if you want to go ahead and submit a scholarship application even without an admit, the system will allow you to do that, but the committee will not open your application until you have been admitted and your official application is there, and your official scores have been received. Approximately how many students of MSBA get scholarships for spring intake? Well, again, three-quarters of our students, and we're a big program, and so at least 75% of our students, 75 to 80% of our students do one internship. About 55% of them do two or more internships. So there are a big lot of students that get these internships. And we are seeing these numbers go up in terms of the percentages of students, because again, every year we end up having new relationships, new connections with companies out there, and we invite them back to hire more from us. What percent of students who apply for Dean's Scholarship actually get the scholarship? Good question. Now, again, the Dean's Excellence Scholarship is issued across the school, so it's not a straightforward answer that I can give you here. But if I talk about the kind of profiles, uh, the average GRE GMAT, the GRE for the program is about 310, 312. And our scholarship recipients are somewhere on top of it. Now, the timing also matters. Now, let's say your application comes only on December 1st, because scholarships are given out on rolling basis. The criteria that will be used for a December 1 applicant, which is like the last possible day for spring, will be much higher because of the limited number of scholarships left at that time, because it's given on a rolling basis. We don't hold up all the scholarships and only tell you about the decisions at the end. We roll them out every now and then. So I would say, going back to your question about the percentage of students, it isn't a straightforward number, but I would say that easily about a third of our students who are applying for it and who qualify end up getting those scholarships. Again, these are very competitive in nature, and you're competing against technically the entire school. Get those. Does UTD accept CSS application when it comes to financial aid for international? You'll have to tell us what CSS is, if you can put that in the chat. If I opt for online BA Flex for maximum classes, how often do you need to visit the campus, like in terms of exams? Well, again, if you opt for online, you really don't have to visit the campus at all. So for exams, most of the classes, they will do their exams using, we have an online proctoring system. But even if you're required to go to a test center, we have a network of test centers that you can just opt for. You can have something which is local to your town, in the city you're residing, and just go and give the test there, book an appointment. But depending on which class you get into, that would be needed. Not every class requires you to go to a testing center, and it can be done online. So pretty much we minimize the need for being in an in-person setting, in the online program. The scholarship portal does not list an application option yet for fall. Yes, because we are still in the spring phase. After the spring applications are done, you will see something open up for fall. Is it necessary to apply for scholarship before getting admit from your side? No, it's the other way around. You need to first get the admit and then the scholarship. I mean, there's no correlation that you must do one thing after, that you have to do one thing after the other. You apply for your admission, you get that, you apply for the scholarship. I have 2 years of experience as a data engineer and 2 research papers published in an international journal, but I have a GPA and low GA value. Again, no one thing can offset the other, but when we look at it all together, we make a decision whether this is something we really want to do or not. So there are certain strong points. If the GPA or the GRE, again, we are an AACSB accredited school, so there are some standards we need to maintain. We look at things very holistically, so don't worry about that. Please do apply. If I defer my admission to fall 23, how does scholarship change? I already applied for spring 23 scholarship. Should I apply for scholarships for fall again? Yes, if you defer, you have an official deferral decision, then you apply for fall 23 scholarships. Is the deadline for Dean Scholarship December 1, 2022 or 2023? Well, for any spring semester, December 1. So spring 23, the deadline is December 1, 2022, before the start of spring. What is the individual credit count for each elective? Most of the courses that you take, so apart from internship, any other course that you take will be 3 credits. Courses like professional development is 1 credit. Courses like your internship can be anywhere between 0 to 3 credits. Anything else, 99% of the times is 3 credits. There are certain 1 credit and 2 credit courses as well that student can take, but there are very few of them. Oh, college scholarship services. You might want to reach out to financial aid to see if that really works out. So it's finaid@utdallas.edu. Let's type it there. And they will be able to tell you whether that works. Okay, well, that wasn't bad. We are kind of at the end of the questions here. I see a new one coming. Deadline for fall scholarship is May 1st, 2023, fall 23. Please make sure that you submit it as soon as possible. So a good time to submit for your application for scholarship is, I would say, January, February. Mid-March is okay. But as you get closer to the deadline, as I said, on a rolling basis, scholarships are given. Don't want to miss out on that. My transcript might take some time to reach you. Is there a way I can start enrolling in courses before that? You can send us our, if your unofficial is with us, that's okay. Reach out to admission at UT Dallas. Tell them that you need X number of weeks to submit your transcripts, and they will give you some extension. They will move your hold. How are jobs out of student and the average pay? So, Sadhguru, I don't know if you were there when we were talking about the average pay at the starting of this presentation, but I would say people with 0 to 3 years of experience are averaging about 100K out of the program. And the more experience you have, that number really moves significantly. The top end has been between 250 to 300K for the last several years. Will the scholarship only affect 2 long semesters, and does it also include summer? Now that depends on when you're getting it. Spring scholarships have in the past included summer, but as I said, the scholarship committee really decides what those 2 semesters would be. They tend to keep it in a certain academic year only. They will mention it on your letter what those 2 semesters are. Mostly it is spring or summer, but wait for that letter and look at what that letter says. The class size, now, if you talk about sections, they can be anywhere between 40 to 60 students, depending on whether it's an elective or a core class. But intake, as I said, 350 to 400 for fall, and about 150 to 200 for spring, 20 to 30 for summer. If I start a summer 23 intake application and I want to change it to fall, yeah, you can. You can change your application to fall. There is a particular way through which you can do that. In fact, even if you just Google change application UTD, the first or the second link that comes on Google, it tells you exactly where you need to go and then just change your application term, and it will be good. Okay, with that, we are at the end of our questions here. Again, thank you for these wonderful questions. Thank you for joining us today for this session. And if you have questions, reach out to us through email. We do this once a month. We also have a Telegram channel that you can join, and I'm going to just put the link here for you to get on that. That has a lot of current students as well, and we answer a lot of questions right then and there for you, so you don't have to wait for webinars. But email, Telegram, webinars, whatever helps you to ask your questions, please ask your questions. It is our honor and privilege that you're thinking of us, you're choosing to come to UT Dallas, and we want to make sure that this is the best decision of your life. But on that note, Dallas here is getting very chilly. It can get very hot tomorrow, but that's the nature of the nature of the weather here in Texas. But wherever you are, keep safe. Uh, do something fun this weekend, and we hope to see you here at UT Dallas very soon. But have a good one, guys. Bye-bye.